So welcome to today's session, Promoting Positive Practices. So we are going to have a presentation by our Child Development and Inclusion Coordinator, Ms. Sarah White, on Ages and Stages Questionnaire. So we'll go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Sarah and get started for the day.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I am going to attempt to share my screen. Can you see it? Yeah, okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go over a presentation regarding ASQs. It's going to give you a little bit of information on why we do them, where to go, where to find them, and what to say, what to do after you've done them, and then I will take questions at the end. So I've gotten a couple questions that have been emailed in, but it's going to let me know if there's any that you send in the chat, and we'll try to get to all of those. I hope that they will be answered as I go through the presentation, but please, if not, please feel free to put them in the chat and we'll get to them at the end. Okay. So ASQ Online is a web-based data management system for the Ages and Stages questionnaires. It makes it easier for the providers to do them, and it has automated scoring, so you don't have to. I know in the past we had to do them and add the scores and all that. So now this system is much easier than it was before, and then it keeps track of the students of the child's screenings from year to year, or birthdays, or however it used to be kept previously, so that we all have everything together. We can kind of go back and look at ASQs and see how a child is, or how they performed previously. Some general information, the ASQ3, the parents or the caregivers will complete the ASQ. This is required by DEL for all students, children that are getting ELC funding. They go from about 1 month to 5.5 years old. They're actually adding, it's going to go up to 6 years old because, if the child's birthday is in September and they miss it, the deadline, they're actually with you for 6 years. And then they include tools that are accurately identify any kind of children that are at risk. So even if it's just a matter of fine motor, they're not holding those pencils well, or they're just having a hard time skipping or jumping on one foot, it kind of goes through all of that based on the age of the child. So it helps just kind of bring out maybe this child needs more help now before they get into public school and all that. And then it actually helps the teachers, it helps the parents kind of learn about child development, where their child should be based on what all the other children their age in the state are at. The domains of the ASQ are communication, gross motor, fine motor, problem solving, and there's like a personal social part of it. And then the ASQ SE2, which is the social emotional development. Those are all included in the ASQs that are required to be done. What you'll find, a lot of people don't like to do ASQs, find them hard, find them time consuming, and everything you have to do outside of your classroom or in addition to, I know, is not fun. But what you will find as you do them is that most children that we have in our centers are doing great. They're on schedule, they're developing right, their gross and fine motor is okay, their speech, all of that. But some children will benefit from these ASQs, these referrals that we might do. Some children, I think most often have some kind of speech issue where I remember when I was a kid, I didn't even know it, and I had a lisp. And when I got into school, I had to go to speech for 2 years. And it's better to catch that stuff early, and the children can, they can fix that really quickly when this child has a lisp or any kind of an issue like that. So it just kind of shows where they are maybe at 2 or 3, and then let's get them help now. Let's not wait until they get thrown into the school system. And then there are some children that will need a referral for evaluation. So, you guys do the ASQs. If it's all typical, if there's no comments, there's no concerns at all, I usually don't even see that. If there's any kind of concern, if there's any kind of even monitoring, if they kind of score it in the middle, or if there's comments at the bottom regarding behavior or any kind of situation where the child wears glasses and doesn't bring them to school, that kind of stuff, that would come to me and I process that. Once I process it, I send you an email and the parent. I make a phone call to discuss, if possible. I send the ASQ results and all of the referral paperwork. So that will come to you and to the parent. This is a typical, say this is what I see when I process it. So this child was typical in communication, had some concerns in gross motor, and then there was fine motor and personal social kind of scored in the middle of concern and typical. And then the problem solving was typical. So this would come to me. Because there is a concern, I'm required to send a referral packet to the parent and to you. That's a DEL requirement. I have to do that. If they all showed monitoring, or if they also showed one typical and all monitoring, then I have the decision. I might give you a call, I might give the parent a call, kind of go over things, and then go from there. This is just a result of a random child at 24 months. Then the gross motor I would have, in my packet that I send to you guys, and I know you've seen these, would be the referral information, and then I kind of give some activities for that age. So just lets us kind of know it's a continuous monitoring system throughout the year. And why do the parents get involved? And I'm going to answer kind of a little bit about this later, but when you have a child at your school and they're brand new and the parent does not do the ASQ for some reason during that first 5 days and it's on you, it's really important that you contact the parent, maybe print the ASQ out and give it to the parent to do. They don't know the child. I mean, they know the child. I'm sorry, you don't know the child like they do. If they're brand new to your center, it's kind of, not really good for us to have you guys do it because, like I said, you're not with the child maybe 2 weeks. And so then that gives the parent kind of a way in. It makes them feel a little bit more connected, and it gives them a chance to fill out the ASQ from what they see. They see the child all the time. If it's a child that's been with you for a while, say they've been there 6 months, say they've been there a year, then every year they would get the ASQ to do. And that's great for you guys to do it and then share it with the parents. And this is the same thing. Another benefit of the parent report acknowledges the parents as an expert. So like I said, if you have them do that first ASQ on that child, it kind of lets them know what to expect and what we're looking for. It validates their concerns. If they do see something, say at home, they're realizing that they have other children and this one child can't jump or can't hold a ball or can't color. It kind of gives the parents the power to advocate for their child and do the ASQ and get that in and maybe contact me to get them referred. It also facilitates communication between you and between that parent. So the parent might come in with the child and say, hey, like I did this ASQ, I'm seeing these concerns. And then the director or the teacher might say, well, yeah, the teachers kind of told us that too. Let's get you in contact with the inclusion coordinator, ELC. And for just communication, and it includes parents. It makes parents feel good that they're active participants, that maybe this helps them point something out. A lot of parents don't want it pointed out, and I don't blame them. If they have a concern about their child, they might not want to tell even the child care center, that I've noticed this, because they don't want to get their child labeled. We hear a lot of that. Always encourage them to do the ASQs and to discuss them with you, or they can give me a call anytime. Some of the problems with the parent part of it is that they only have 5 days to do the ASQ once their child is enrolled. We try to get them to do it here. So when they first fill out their application and all that, and they decide what center they're going to go to, it pops up for them. If the parent doesn't do it and it comes to you, you're more than welcome to print it, give it to the parent, and then they'll bring it back and you can enter all the information. There's no way for me to pop it back to the parent after it goes to the provider, but I can later on schedule something else and have it to where only the family does it. So there's a little bit of ways I can get out of that. The best way for you to do it is just to print the ASQ and have the parent do it. And then, like I said, the parents worry about their child being labeled. I try to encourage them, and you too, that these ASQs don't follow the kids to kindergarten. They're just kind of, while they're getting ELC help, they're just kind of ways to catch things now before they do go into the public school system, and maybe help them and get them back on track before they are thrown into the school system, because we all know how that is. So the parent-child enrollment information, what happens is the parent gets this email from our parent services specialist when the child is approved. So, or when they have a redetermination date or any kind of enrollment changes, they have to put their child in a center or home within 10 days of the time that they get their certificate from us. They must complete the enrollment by signing their certificate. And once they do sign that certificate, then the child will show up in your portal. And once all that is complete, that's when the 5 days starts for the parent to do it. Then they have that 5 days, they don't do it, and then it'll come to you. I do want to say that if you have a child that's brand new, this happens quite a bit. This is one of the phone calls I get a lot. And say you have a child that's brand new and they started, on the 20th. And so that 5 days, tomorrow will be the end of the 5 days. You check on Friday, there's no ASQ. Generally, that means that the child, everything, the parent did it. That's what it means for you. The parent did it. There's no, everything's typical. There, nothing, no concerns. So the parent did that ASQ, and then you won't have it pop up until they get redetermined. So a lot of times, I try to get you guys all the time to make sure you check your portal, and make sure when you have new kids, but then you check it and there's nothing there. So that means that the parent did it. And like I said, when the child is new, we prefer that the parent do it just because they know the child better. So parents do have the option to defer it to you when they do all their enrollment. They have the choice to either, no, I don't want my child screened, and that's their right. Their child does not have to be screened if they don't want it. We cannot screen a child when a parent says no. And they can also say, I don't want to do it. I just want the school to do it. That's their choice. There's really nothing we can do about that. At least the child's getting screened. And that's really the best thing. If the child is enrolled and they're not showing up, like say the parent came, they called you, they've set everything up, we've gotten the certificate to them, they come there and they're not showing in your portal. That's when you will have to call our family services representative. I know everyone's got one of those, one of our people in our office, and give them a call. I don't deal with the enrollment part of it. So if there's any questions about a child, please contact them. Also, if there's a child that's showing up on your portal to do an ASQ for, and they've never attended, or they're no longer attending, please make sure that you notify me, and that you also notify eligibility and family services so that they know, okay, that child either never attended, never been here, never enrolled here, or they left a week ago. They said they were transferring to a different school. It's really important for us that we know that so that we're not trying to pay for that child at one center when they're actually at a different center. So the portal, which is the EFS mod portal, where it's your provider portal where you do your profile and all that, that's where you're going to find the ASQs. Once you complete the ASQs, it's very important that you print that receipt and have the parent sign it and keep it, because when Ambria comes and does monitoring, or whoever is doing your monitoring, that is going to be something that we want to see. You're required, you have to keep it in your file. So you can scan it, that's fine. Just make sure that it's kept at your center. So if Ambria was going to call you and your monitoring was for September, and we don't have those receipts from the ASQs that you did, that would be a finding on your monitoring. To find the ASQs that need to be done in the portal, you're going to log in, and then under common tasks, scroll all the way to the bottom. Sometimes you have a couple other things in here, but you have to. The preschool development, the screening tools will always be at the bottom of the page. I'm not really sure why, since that's so urgent, but that's at the very bottom of the page. And then you would click on developmental screening queue, and then your children that you have to do would come up here. So the name, the date of birth, the screening ID, the due date, the days until due, and the questionnaire. So, and you can also choose English or Spanish. So that's really more for parents, I believe. But if there's a Spanish speaker at your site that would rather do it in Spanish, that's fine as well. And then it's going to have date due and days until due. I will say something about that date due. So what happens is parent gets the 5 days, you as the provider get the 40 days. That date due is going to show the last day of that 40 days. So technically that date is the date that it becomes late. I hope that makes sense. But so if you wait until that date, wait until then to do it, and if something happens and you can't do it, then it goes into the overdue queue. And then I have to email you and all that. So what I suggest is that you check your portal, go in there, check your developmental queue like every Tuesday. And then put on your calendar, okay, these need to be done. It's better to get them done as soon as possible. That way you don't feel like you're bogged down with them. And then that's better for monitoring as well. Just if you see them in there, just go ahead and get those ones done. This is the where it says the confirmation request. You cannot print it later. After the fact, if you forget and you go and you finish and you hit submit, you're not going to be able to print it again. I have an ability to print it, but it doesn't always work with DAL. You know how that is with EFS mod. They are sometimes working and sometimes not. So what will happen is I can print you something that says that you did it, that I saw that you did it for your monitoring. I don't mind doing that. But just make sure that as soon as you finish the ASQ that you print this confirmation letter, just to have for your records. So what happens is all the information gets entered. You put the child's date of birth. They have the year first, the month, and the date. Weeks premature. So if the child was premature, sometimes the parents will tell you that. Sometimes they won't. If you put 3 weeks or less, that doesn't really on here count as premature. They don't count it. But if it was like 6 weeks or something like that, make sure you put that in there because that will adjust the screening tools and questions. And then you either put that you're screening them today or you're entering questions from another ASQ. I don't even know why that would be there, but they give that option. And then you're going to enter the child's gender, your relationship to them. So either the child care provider, the parent, the guardian, anything like that, you can put that in there. And then your email address, and then click on next. It's very important that you put the email address in there. That goes into EFS mod as well as the Brooks training website for me. And sometimes there's an email there that we don't have on file here. So it's just better for me to be able to contact either the parent or the school by that email address. Once you get in there, it's got the domains at the top, and you just go through each question. Yes, sometimes, or not yet. We ask that you don't hit response missing, just because it's very important. There's not, there's not a lot of questions, so it's very important that every question get answered. And then you're going to submit the screening when you're all done, when you answer all the questions. They do give you time at the bottom with each question, time to kind of write notes in. So say the child, you're worried about the child's hearing, or the child isn't speaking, or the child doesn't have as many words as you think. There's a spot there for you to make those notes. And what will happen is, even if the ASQ is typical and all the answers kind of score that child high, if you put answers or comments at the bottom, it automatically comes to me. So if there's a child that you feel like even everything scored fine that day, most of the time they're not really doing well in the communication or any of those domains, and then that'll prompt it to come to me, which is good because then I can contact you, I can contact the parent and kind of come out and see how the kid's doing. Again, you want to make sure that you print this, make sure that the parent signs it, and that you keep it in your files. You can ask the parent to sign it that day when they come to pick up the child, go over the results with them, have them sign the confirmation. Must be kept. And these activity sheets, so what happens is when you finish the ASQ and you get your confirmation letter, this also comes up. So based on the child's age, you'll get these activity sheets that kind of have ideas for the parent or even the teacher to kind of work with the child. So if it's a speech thing, it'll come up and say, these are words that the child should know. It comes up based on their age. And these are a lot of, these are kind of fun. They're stuff that we don't really think about. They're just activities for the child. I will send out, when I process them, I send out activities that are more geared towards what the issues were on the ASQ. This was just be something that if everything was great with the kid, this would come up for them. And then you can view the completed screenings for the kids that are in your care. I will send this out to you in an email, but you will be able to choose those kids. Now, if the child has left your center and gone to another center, you won't be able to see them. But if they stay at your center and then year after year, you can kind of look up and say, well, last year we had an issue with this, or, you know, the child had concerns with gross motor, but everything is fine now, or there's a problem. The child can't skip anymore. The child can't run, or the child can't climb stairs. Then, well, they didn't have an issue last year, but there is one this year. And that's really what the ASQ is all about, to kind of keep track of developmental milestones for these children. If there's a child that's a private pay child that, or they're a VPK child that does not receive funding directly from us, you can request that that I send you a screening based on the child's age, but we have to have a parent consent form. So what you do is, if you feel like there's a child that needs to be screened, contact me, either call me or email me, and then I will send you a copy of the parent consent form, and you can have the parent sign it. Once you send that back to me, then I will send you the link for the screening. Sometimes the parent also wants a link, which is fine. I can send it to them as well. Just make sure that you had that form signed. Very important. And then follow up. So the way that it works is, once the screening is done, like I said before, like this first one, everything was typical. There was no concerns. So I didn't even see that ASQ. The second one, everything is typical, but there's a concern with fine motor. That would come to me. So what I do is I print the ASQ, I print the activities, I print the referral paperwork, I get it all together, and I send the email. I send it to you as the provider and to the parent. Then I will give, about 3 days later, I will give the parent a call if I don't get anything back, and try to kind of follow up, try to discuss it, see if they have any questions. And then I will also, I just started this as texting the parent, because a lot of parents can't open those emails because I have to send them confidential. They can't open them on their phone or tablet. They have to go to a computer. So I have this nice kind of introduction. I text the parent, and a lot of times, I would say maybe 85% of them are texting me back and saying, yes, please send that to me, not confidential, or, oh yes, call me, or can I call you, let's discuss it. So it really is helping with this text message. And unfortunately, I have to send it confidential. But if the parent says to me, hey, can you send me those results? I will say, well, yes, but can you reply back to me and say, please send me the results unencrypted? And that way I have record that the parent is authorizing that. And I will, of course, do anything I can to help them to understand it. If the parent does fill out the referral paperwork, I send it over to Fiddlers, and they will send it off to the referral and then contact the parent. So we'll go to early steps. If the parent if the child is 0 to 3, and then 3 and up, it goes to the school system, and it puts them in an ESC class at the school system. Fiddlers, the Florida Diagnostic and Learning Resources Center, they're great. They will contact the parent within 2 days of me sending them that referral. So they're very up on contacting the parent, making sure that the parent gets the help that they need for their child. And ESQ results, like I said before, this is the letter that you get. You've probably seen it, that when I send it out, I add in all the areas that there was a concern in. I don't put the areas that there was monitoring in, because sometimes that just is very overwhelming, because I could list all of them, and I don't want to scare or freak out a parent. If there's a couple here, that's enough for them to kind of get worried. I send this to them. I tell them they can go into the family portal to see the results, and I want them to print off that form, give it to you guys. Sometimes they don't do that, and that's okay. And then I have these links here that also provide some support that kind of tells them what's going to happen. It tells them why the child was scored a different way. I get a lot of times parents say, well, send it to me. My child does all that stuff at home. And that's true. A lot of times the kids are different at home than they are. They have siblings at home that are older, or they're doing different things at home. So it's very important that I can contact them and that they fill out these forms and send it back to me. This letter, I'm sorry, this is not my information. I'll fix that, but you guys should have it from contacting. And then this is the intervention practices form. So I have the child's name here. Sometimes the child has been screened before and then has concerns and they have gotten help or haven't gotten help. I mark all that here. I sign it. I send it to the parent. If you will please have them sign this and you sign it and you keep it for your records. I don't need this form back. It's just for the parent and for you. It just says all the concerns, and then intervention implementation. A lot of times I don't even put anything in there because we don't know if they're going to get referred. If I don't ever want to put, yes, a child should be referred, that's a parent's decision. I just want to support them if they have questions about that referral. This is the part that the parent checks and sends to me. So yes, please contact Fiddlers, or no, I'm not requesting help. If they say no, can't do anything. A lot of times what will happen is I will call them, explain that, I'm going to put this in their file, and then discuss with them, hey, do you mind if I just schedule another screening for 6 months from now? Just to kind of see how things are, make sure that they're fine with everything. If they say, okay, well, maybe I will get some help. Maybe I will. And then they can just send me an email and say yes. And then I will help them out with that. Once they realize it's not labeling their child, and that's such a bad word, I think, to me, it's sad when my child got labeled or whatever, but I think it's very important that we support, especially now. And I hate the COVID situation, but a lot of these children are, they're coming out of being home, or they were just in school, like these kids that were maybe 18 months or 2 years old, but all of a sudden, bam, they had to be home for 2 years, and then their development has kind of slowed down, or their behaviors become an issue. So I like to kind of talk to parents and say, hey, like, this is what we saw, but maybe these other things are happening. And then they'll be like, oh, okay. So even if they say no, I try my best to get them to agree. I can't always make that happen, but I try my best. And then these are the other two forms. There's the interagency referral form. It's got all the information on here. These were scanned by Lynn, so that's why her information is still here. They print these two forms and send these to me. They can be faxed to me. They can be scanned. I prefer that they don't be emailed to me unless there's a confidential tag there, but they get returned to me. I fill everything out. I actually print the full ASQ and send it in. So I try to contact the parent, 3 attempts to contact the parent via text, and then I send them an email. If I can't get a hold of a parent, if a parent never replies to me, I will automatically do a rescreen for 6 months. And that way they will hear from me again in 6 months. And I go back and schedule it 6 months from the original date. So I might not be communicating with them until 3 or 4 weeks after that screening was actually done. But I'll say it was, September 15th, and this is October 24th. I would go back and set it up for 6 months from September 15th, from the actual screening date. And then incomplete or overdue ASQ information. I send you out emails. I think most of you get them from me that say, okay, you have some ASQs that are due. Please check your portal and get them done as soon as possible. And then I try my best to send one out 3 or 5 days before that due date, so that it's just another reminder. I know you're bombarded with them. I apologize. And then if they're not completed by that due date, I'll send out an email telling you, yeah, you've got these kids, they're overdue. And if they're not completed within 5 days of that email, that would mean that they're like 8 to 15 days overdue. They will have to issue a corrective action plan and kind of discuss ways that we can get you to remember, or as a ticker, as a reminder that those ASQs are very important and you need to keep checking them. And like I said before, I have to send the emails to the parents as confidential, because lots of parents don't actually have a computer. They're doing it on a tablet or on their phone. they can't open my emails. So like I said before, they can text me back and say, yes, Miss Sarah, can you please send me the results in a regular email, not encrypted, so I can open them on my phone. And I'm like, absolutely, I will do that. I just have to have something from the parent. So if I'm talking to them on the phone, I ask them to text me. If they're emailing me, then I ask them to just email me permission. If you guys talk to a parent, they say they couldn't open the email and you get authorization for it to be sent to them, just email me and say that you spoke to the parent and the parent authorized it, and I don't have a problem. The main reason we do that is because if it's going to straight to someone's Gmail and we have that parent's email as that email, we're sure that it's secure. If it was going out to some email that we didn't recognize, then that's another reason we do it confidential. I just don't want that kid's information to get out there. And then the warm line, you guys probably all also have this. This is the line where you can call me directly. It doesn't go through the switchboard, it just goes right to my phone. If you have issues with behavior or ASQs or any kind of situation with a parent, anything like that, you can give me a call on the warm line, and then I will give you a call back, or kind of talk to the parent, whoever calls me. So if you have even if you didn't call me on the warm line and you want me to do an observation or anything like that, I would count that as the warm line. It's just extra support. It's not having to go through our switchboard. It comes right to me, and it may be a little faster. I don't really know. I mean, I don't pay attention so much as who's calling me from their warm line and not. I record every single call that I get from providers, whether it's regarding a child. That was the ASQ part of it. Do you guys have any questions about the ASQs? I do have two that were sent in, and the question was, why did the parents fill them out? They used to do it. You said that the center, that you guys used to do it. I hope that I explained that, but the parents have the 5 days. This child, if it's brand new to your center, you don't know them as well as the parent would. You don't know how they react or anything like that. So we ask if it's a brand new child for the parent to do it first. And then it comes to you guys to do. And that's kind of the reason for that. We wouldn't want an ASQ to not be accurate, especially if it's only done now redetermination. They might not get another one for a year. So we just want to make sure that the first one is reported properly by somebody that knows the child. And then the other question was, is this supposed to be done during VPK hours? The only time you would get an ASQ to be done on a child that's doing in your VPK program is if they have wraparound care, which during that time they get SR funding. So if you have an ASQ that pops up for a child, I mean, you can do it during that VPK time, but that's supposed to be an instructional time. So you can either do it at recess or you can do it in the afternoon. If you have a child that's only VPK, if they get dropped off at 9 and your VPK is over at 12 and they leave, there's not going to be an ASQ on that child. Same with school age kids. If you have kids that come that are school age kids in the afternoon after school, then that child's not going to have an ASQ as well. So those are the questions I had that were sent in. Does anybody else have anything else in the chat, Lexi, or anything else for me?
Yeah, we had one from Miss Katie. She said, in the social emotional ASQ, if a child has a never box checked and a check if this is a concerned box, how would you calculate that for the final score?
If there's no answer, they will just give it a 0. So that's why it's so important to put an answer in there. As far as the comments that you put in, the comments will make it actually automatically come to me. It would not go in the score and it would automatically come to me. I hope that answers your question. It's because I don't score them necessarily. The system scores them based on the answers that are input. So if you put no answer and then put a bunch of comments, they're not going to even process those comments. It'll just go down as a 0. In the ASQ3 side of it, we want them to score low. In the ASQ SC2 page, we want them to score high. So it's kind of backwards, but yeah. So if there's only comments put in there and the answer is not, it says response missing, then there's no score given. And that would cause them to score low. Does that help? Anybody else? Okay, last thing is about the special needs rate. And I know a lot of providers have been asking about it. We do provide a special needs rate for children that have a diagnosis, whether it's autism, ADHD, Asperger's, any kind of developmental delay, anything like that. We do have a special needs rate that you can get. The process for that is that you must have at least one staff member on site, not someone who's a sub. It has to be someone who's on site consistently that has taken the DCF special needs appropriate practices class and passed the exam. So like I said, it can't be a sub, it can't be someone who's not ever there. It needs to be someone who's on site. So what happens is you let me know if the child has got to have an official diagnosis. So if the child has autism, if the child has Down syndrome, if the child has ADHD, anything like that, it has to be officially diagnosed by an evaluator or a doctor. I have to have that. Then once I receive that and I confirm that you guys, someone in your staff has taken the special needs class, I will send you the application. And the application is very simple. It's just a couple pages of information, and there's 5 different pages where you can kind of evaluate the child. And it'll say like the child doesn't need help doing this, going to the bathroom, but the child needs help with educational activities. And so what happens is that's like a 6-page application, and I go through and score that. And based on their score is what the rate that you're going to get is. Once that's received and scored, I will come out. Sometimes Terry will come with me. We'll come out to kind of see that you have made special accommodations. If there's a child that has to have like walkers because they can't walk well or has to have a wheelchair, we just come out and make sure that there's those accommodations that you have there. We don't ever ask that you hire a separate teacher for a child. That's a big burden for you. But we do the best that we can to get that rate as high as possible. So if you have any questions about the special needs rate, please contact me. I'll get that going for you. I'll send you the application, and then we'll go from there.
We did have a question from Stephanie. Does the special needs rate apply to SR schools only?
Yes, it's for SR kids. It doesn't. We don't have any way to control how much money VPK students the classrooms are given, so it has to be a child who is only supported. Yes. This is just my contact information, my phone number, my email address, the warm line. Like I said, it goes directly to me. You don't have to go through the switchboard. And then you can use that warm line to answer, to request any of these things. So if you need help, developmental concerns, behavior, that's a lot of things that I could get. Identifying special needs support. I'm not trained to say, yes, this child has autism, or yes, this child has ADHD or Asperger's. I'm not trained to do that. I wish that I was, but I'm not. But I will give you the support. I will come out, I will talk to you on the phone, kind of give you ideas of maybe rearranging the classroom, maybe putting up rules, maybe having certain things in your classroom. I will kind of help you. I'll give the classroom supports for that child. And anything else that you might need. I do have some ASQ kits, and I'm going to try to get those out to you guys. We want to make sure they get used. So I'm going to kind of talk with Terry and see next time that she's going to be going out and see if she can give a couple of those to you guys. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions for me? The class? Yeah, okay, you guys got it. Any more questions, Miss Lexi?
It looks like that's just about it for now, unless anybody wants to unmute and ask any questions.
When Lexi sends you guys out the email, she will send that entire PowerPoint. I have it for her. She'll send it to you. So it's got all my contact information in there. Please feel free to email me, call me. I'll be happy to come out. I know I have an observation Thursday in 3 separate classrooms at a center because there's 3 separate children in 3 different classes. So I'll do it. Just let me know. I'm here to help you, and I'm here to help the children.
AD did ask also, she wanted to clarify if they are part-time VPK, we cannot do an ASQ on them.
You can, but you have to have parent permission. You can't just do it. because you feel like there's a concern. A lot of times, if you feel like there's a concern and you want to call me and I can call a parent, or you talk to the parent first and kind of get them to say, yeah, that's fine. And then I would be happy to send you an ASQ for that child based on the age and stuff. I just have to have parent authorization. You can't do it without.
Ms. Shirley unmuted. Ms. Shirley, did you have any questions?
I do. I want to say thank you. First of all, I am so excited that I'm here finally, and I picked up on such great information. So forgive my questions if they seem redundant, but I am really happy to hear about all of the wonderful things you do, Sarah. And we finally get to see you like in light and live in color and all those things. So good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you.
I think we have these classes. I think these were mandated classes for that special needs. What wasn't that?
Well,
It's a 10 hours.
It's part of the 10 hours. So when you do your 40 hours, that's one of the classes that you could have taken to get your 40 hours. You might have it.
I did. And that's great. So what do we do? Just send that to you and the transcript, or what would you like?
No, so you can send me a copy of your transcript is fine. And then the diagnosis for the child, whichever, if the child has a diagnosis from the doctor, send those two things to me. And then I will send back the application to you.
Okay, and then at least one person has to be here. That's the part I need to understand.
Well,
yeah.
they don't have to be there all the time. I mean, obviously someone cannot be there from 6:30 to 6:30. It just needs to have someone on staff that's pretty much there consistently. It can't be a sub that only comes in once a week. It has to be somebody that is regularly scheduled to work. It could be your floater, it could be the person in the front office. Just needs to be one of your staff members that have it.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Well, thank you all so much. I'm on driver duty today, so I'm going to say goodbye, but thank you. Hey, Shy. Take care.
Be safe.
Miss Terry. Thank you. Bye.
Anybody else have any questions?
Just a reminder that we do have, and let's see if I was going to say this, but we do have a training on Saturday from cards. I'll let her talk about that and answer that question.
Yep, so we do have a training this Saturday at the Early Learning Coalition training room from 9 to 11. CARD, the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities, is going to do a training for us on characteristics and supports for children with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, and other common related disorders like ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. That session is full right now, but I have already started getting requests to drop from that course. So if you are not signed up for that course and you would like to, shoot me an email, and if a spot opens up, we'd be happy to have people plug in. Again, that is this Saturday, October 28th, from 9 to 11 here at the ELC training room. I'll write you down, Ms. Shirley.
And I'll be there as well to answer any questions that you might have after the representative card gets done.
Ms. Silangeli, what age group do you work with? You're welcome to join with twos. Some of the strategies that she goes over are really helpful for really any age group. We don't always stay within the same age group. So being trained even in older age group strategies is also helpful. So if you'd like, I can take your name down as well.
Yeah, she does a great job explaining and going over things. She does a fantastic job. So hopefully you guys can get in and come see that one as well.
Yeah, that's only going to be if spots open up. I already had some people cancel So there are some spots available, and I imagine more spots will become available as we go through the week and people are sick or people's schedules come up. So if a spot does open, I will email you directly to let you know that you do have a spot in that course. All right, I think if we are all done with questions or concerns, then we are going to wrap up our session for today. Miss Sarah, it was lovely to have you on with us today. Thank you so much for your time. We greatly appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Miss Shai will drop the evaluation in the chat box. This is how you get your in-service hours for today's session. Please make sure you fill out that evaluation. The email address that you provide on that evaluation is where your in-service certificate will be automatically emailed to you. If you don't receive it in your inbox, check your spam folder. Sometimes it ends up in there. We do look at every single evaluation to see how we can continue to better our professional development program. So please provide some honest feedback on that evaluation. Other than that, that is going to wrap up our session. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope you have a wonderful day.